So that was the meeting yesterday, delivered a 0.25% increase in the interest rate, now at 18.75%. Sierra was not touched, even though some people had, well, hoped that the deposit money banks will also get that concession that merchant banks got, which is that Sierra was reduced from 32.5% to 10%, giving them the room to have more liquidity, you know, to lend to the public. But apparently, they did not get that. We're going to talk about sustainable development now, but with Sahad Abdul Salam, he's the head of financial standards and corporate governance with the SEC. He's joining us from our Abuja studio. Hi, Sahad. Good morning. I guess I can't help but ask you this.
Good morning, Eni.
Yeah, I can't help but ask you this. Are you happy about this interest rate hike? A mild interest rate hike, I think we should also add that.
The issue of sustainability in Nigeria or across the globe is a very important issue. The global attention from regulators to investors to issuers to reporting entities and so on has now shifted to the issue of sustainability. Now, people keep hearing about ESG, 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 and it has become like a song that people are always happy to sing. But we need to understand what ESG means, which is an acronym for environmental, social, and governance. And it is a parameter that is being used to assess companies' operations and their impact on the environment, on the social life, and how those businesses are governed. And when you look at the issue of environment, we have some challenges across the globe, ranging from high temperatures, flooding, environmental degradation, and so on, that must be tackled. So we are making all efforts in dealing with those issues.
All right. I would have loved for you to comment, you know, on the rate hike, but I mean, let's leave it at that. You want to talk about the sustainable development, but I mean, sometimes this issue of sustainable development and ESG, they sound foreign to a lot of businesses in Nigeria, and especially the small businesses who ask themselves or ask the question, how do I inculcate this into my everyday running of the business? How do I adopt this, and what benefit is there for me even when I adopt it?
Okay, thank you. You see, across the globe, we have so many sustainability standards that businesses are expected to comply with. But that effort has now been taken over by the International Financial Reporting Standards Board, which is the IASB, International Accounting Standards Board, in concert with the International Organization of Securities Commissions across the world. International Organization of Securities Commissions, IOSCO, is a body coordinating the affairs of securities, capital market authorities in about 95% of the world, with the superpowers like the UK, US, Canada, and so on being members of that organization. Now, the joint effort between the International Accounting Standards Board and IOSCO gave birth to the International Sustainability Standards Board, which is an independent body that is responsible for developing sustainability standards. Incidentally, yesterday, the IOSCO endorsed the first two standards that have been released. And with that endorsement, it means all public companies are expected to comply with those standards. Nigeria, as a nation, has already adopted those international standards because You need to make adequate disclosures. You need to ensure that in your operations, the environment is less impacted or is positively impacted. The issue of social life of your workers, the environment in which you operate, issue of human rights are all taken care of in your operations so that they don't get impacted negatively. And then when it comes to the issue of governance, this talks about corporate governance, how the company is being managed and run by those that are in charge, that is the board, the management team. Now, in doing that, they have to look at the issue of corporate social responsibility, what they are bringing on board that will affect the environment, the local communities positively. They have to look at issue of internal control, the effectiveness, the existence, and its strength. It also touched on the issue of disclosure, adequate disclosures, because without disclosure, investors will not have information that will help them in making investment decisions. So all those are put together under the sustainability standards, and the SEC Nigeria, being a member of IOSCO, is championing the implementation of these standards. Also, there is a joint collaboration between the SEC Nigeria and the Financial Reporting Council, the Nigeria Exchange, and the academia and other stakeholders in preparing Nigerian companies towards the implementation of those standards. So there are things that every company is expected to implement. And if you did not implement, it will definitely affect your businesses, because investors will shy away from investing in your business. Customers will shy away from patronizing your product. Now, if your business is impacting on the environment negatively, people will not be happy with you. It will cost you more. If you go to some developed nations, you will see multinationals getting enmeshed in series of litigations. Those litigations come at a cost. That cost is transferred to the investors because it will eat up into the profit position of the company, and it will make them go into loss position. You can also look at it from the perspective that fines are charged by regulators on companies that are not complying with such principles. When fines are fine, it affects the image of the businesses. It also affects their profitability. Also, when you look at the banking sector, issue of sustainability is very critical. So for them to finance businesses, maybe by granting loans, they need to assess your compliance with sustainability standards such that they will be sure whatever they are financing as part of your business is something that will not have negative impact on the society and the environment in general.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Abdulsalam Sahad. Abdulsalam, obviously, it sounds like a whole lot of enlightenment is still necessary for businesses in Nigeria to adopt this ESG, because as you noted, banks are also supposed to look out for that in granting loans, among other things, and it's supposed to affect investor sentiment, but it's obvious that there's more education and enlightenment needed. But thank you so much for sharing this perspective and at least giving us this highlight this morning. Head of Financial Standards and Corporate Governance with the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Sahad Abdulsalam.
Thank you.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, In Drive is coming to tell us what they do and what they have to offer.